Right, this is a walk around of my 1959 Sa Ckd from South Africa. Loads of random stuff like, even though it was 59, it had ribbed bumpers on the front. It was semaphore. Semaphores were all welded up. I rebuilt all those, got those working, so that's all fine. What else did it have on there? It had a centre light in the loom, and obviously rib bumpers on the back, and a flat cargo door, which you can see I need to do some alignment with it, but that's pretty good. I'll do a walkthrough and I'll tell you what panels I've replaced and what I've done to it. So the front I had a whole new clip added. Not only that, is because it had been in an accident, I took it right down to the chassis beams and I had to get them on a jig, and I had my Q7, I had that, pulling it from side to side, and I got the measurements spot on. So pretty much as I replaced the chassis members, the inner and outer valance and the front clip just went straight on. So this is my front clip. I always mask up random little holes just to stop any metal dust getting in anywhere. So front clip, obviously in outer valance, you can see it's got the right valance for the bumper. I replaced it from pretty much, can't see it actually, about down here and along there. And as I replaced it, I noticed that the Wolfsburg West front panel had quite a higher lip, which I found was quite good because obviously it stops water coming in than the original panel. So what I did is on the inside, you can just about see, is I matched the lip. I got the lip pretty much bang on, so it's smooth. So a lot of people, they replace the lip and the inside is just sat back down there. So I made all that absolutely spot on. Taking out the mesh up there, and what I'll do is I've got some stainless mesh and I shall just glue that in. Okay, what else have I done on the front? So this door has been replaced. This door was a later door because it had the handle recess just down there. So I bought this separately. I had to weld up a load of holes because it had deluxe trim along here, and it had a couple of holes here for a truck mirror. There's a bit of work need doing on it. Let me shut the door a second and I shall show you. So the door seems to fit okay. Alignment's pretty good, needs a bit of tweaking. The main part is, if you look, it marks on here and down here. You can see over time it's just been sort of bent and warped, but that just needs a bit of work. It won't take too long. It's a bit of wood, panel hammering. Got a set. This is my unit in my workshop. Got a set there. Anyway, so I've got aluminium door tops, aluminium safaris. Safaris aren't original, but it did have them originally. It's got the plate up inside here and all the original bars and stuff. This door was the original, you can see. The actual bus was mango green and seagull grey, but I've always wanted a dove blue and a sort of off-white, so that's the colour I'll be keeping it, obviously, but just shiny and pimp looking. Replaced both dog legs. With that dog leg, I've replaced the lower A posts. They were pretty far gone, literally just could wiggle it with a screwdriver. It's had the outer and inner seals replaced both sides. You can see that the previous welder, I haven't done this, but the previous welder has flanged the edge, and I would have liked to have got it just a clean seam so it looked like it was hard to touch, but obviously that's for you guys to sort out. There's a bit of room there for you guys to play with. You can see on the dog leg I made sure I've lined it up with the top up here and the bottom down there, so here there's like a little bit of a lip to play with for that. It's had new outriggers, a couple of new jacking points. It's had, let's go through this side. It's had, so all the doors had everything all welded up, all holes. I had both doors I had about 30 holes, random holes. Here you can see I'm just finishing off actually putting in a new locking restrainer, so that'll look pretty sweet when it's done. It's had brand new cab floor. The first one was an absolute mess. Oh yeah, and on the front it's also had this headlight bowl, this support panel. That's a classic fab floor, but no, with the floor I've noticed that all the holes are off. You can see my measurements here of where I need to move all the holes to. So what I'll do is I'll cut them out and flip them over or rotate them to make sure they actually go forward. So that'll be fine when you guys get it, or potentially. I also need to do the same with the handbrake. You can see it needs to go over about 8 mil probably, but I'm going to take the handbrake out and replace all the pin and stuff inside. I've added this heater control, so this will all be potentially working for a Propex heater, an unslung one, which I'll show you in a bit. So that's all working fine. It's got the spring in there, so it actually directs it all perfectly. Dash, you can see a few things. This is one of the first things I did. Obviously not my best work, but it was a bit of panel beating and stuff, so obviously that'll just be skinned over. That was a fuel gauge, but mine obviously doesn't have a fuel gauge. Mine has a fuel tap, which is down there, and that's all going to be working. I'm currently, as you can see, we'll go around cargo side, I'm currently replacing the bulkhead, so I've gone right down inside there and replaced it from underneath. It's had a bulkhead replacement before when I first bought it actually, but obviously I didn't know much about buses, and I just grabbed the first one just to be able to make sure I could actually drive it, and it was get a bit closer to where I wanted it. Done everything, so replaced all the headline teeth, filled in, there was millions of holes here, so I got a plate, an aluminium block behind here, and I filled in all those holes, just from my own sort of personal satisfaction. Any holes in the airbox are filled in. I've also added seatbelt bolts up there, and obviously points there and on each of the holes there. Toolbox is going to have a plate on it, so that'll all have to be blasted out. I want that all clean, because I'm going to have a nice, so the carpet that goes in here, there's going to be a nice carpet in there, and I've got one of these, I think it's VW Gym toolboxes with a little lock on there. Great for when we're travelling around Europe, put passports and laptop and that stuff in. Go around the other side. You can see at the moment I'm replacing a section of roof. It's had a replacement before, it's okay, but there was loads of pinholes, and it ended up being that it was a section of the roof. You can just about see there I'm finishing off. So this will all be caked in oxide, so I'm going to be pouring oxide in there just to make sure that there's going to be no rust, because it's quite hard to get to with paint and stuff. But you can see my welds there. I just need to finish off. I'm trying to get it on a rotisserie, so I can do this, spend more time on this and make sure it's actually good. Side of the van, I've added all the original pop-outs. They were all just riveted up and just filled with paint, so I had to fill all those holes in and start from scratch. But you've got stainless, they're caked in prime at the moment, but they're all stainless hinges. Go around. Cargo doors. So cargo doors both got hinges. So on both cargo doors, open this. You'll see from my spraying and red oxide, I replaced both lower frames. Just make sure you can see there, both lower frames. which I have to say, I think I did a pretty damn good job, because most companies, they do it. You can see the excess lip that's been provided, it's all out of alignment, it doesn't really fit very well. And I went for full skin replacements up to the line, so didn't have a spot welder, so I managed to just weld it in. So what I'll do is inside there is I'm going to get some red oxide and just make sure it sits along that line, so obviously any welds in there won't be getting moisture, and obviously you don't want pinhole and up here on this side. You can just about see right there, you can just about see my welds where I just ground down. That just needs skimming over. I'm trying to get this out. It's just a dent from obviously when people have sort of slammed their doors. I'm going to use a sort of a puller and plate and try and pull that out. Be on that next week. So inside, as you can see, I got a full bulkhead replacement to do, which is the bulkhead's over here. So you've got a donor bulkhead from America, which was an absolute mess. I had to build up all the sides, I had to make up all these tabs that are going to go on, fill in a load of holes, there's loads of dents in it, and then obviously I've got a classic fab bottom bit, which is cut out the bit at the bottom to go over the rod, and then if I flip it, so you can see my work. So I'm currently blending it all in. Obviously I've still got this to brush down, and I've still got the seat brackets to put on. That's when they're done. So that's pretty much okay. So I've got to finish it off this week and hopefully get it in over the weekend. Classic fab arch, pain in the backside. I had to cut off the lip, this thing here, and extend it by 7mm because it wasn't flush with the bulkhead and this bit here. That's an original arch there, and obviously I've got a bit of tidying up to do on these B posts. There's a bit of a gap in here, which where the lower B post would have gone there would have been a lip, so I'm going to recreate that lip, bring that down there, and obviously tack weld that and seal that. So it's pretty much ready to go in. Absolute pain in the arse trying to get the bulkhead down from underneath there. You had to climb up underneath, drill out all the welds, and it was a lot of wriggling to figure out where the welds were and stuff like that. It's had 2 brand new floors, Wolfberg Rest floors, and the outer seal, inner seal on this side, and a couple of I-beams, all lined up absolutely perfect. I've used all the measurements from the Samba, made sure I got them all great. And the floor, obviously I taped it up, I just didn't want any bits of metal getting down inside there, so I always tape things up. Had to make all these little interior tabs as well. You can see one there and one there, and there's a few on the arch. Added all these new all the original seat brackets. That's purely just for my satisfaction. They obviously won't do anything, it'll just be laid floor. So I might put some captive nuts underneath and drill some holes just to allow me to actually put a nice floor down without actually just drilling a load of self-tappers into the floor. So the log tube. So I had to build up that. That was a pain in the arse. Log tube, I had to reduce this tube here by about 3.5, 4 inches, I think about 3.5, to be able to sit a rock and roll bed in front of it. So that didn't obviously have one, so I had to buy one, get it all, weld it all up, add all these new welds. All the inside is treated with red oxide, so I put a load of like fuel tank cleaner through it, because eventually I want to be able to run heater for it, but obviously that's going to be capped for now, because the heater is going to go underneath, which I'll show you in a minute, and it's going to run all the way along that main tube with an extra fan pushing it along there, and it's going to come up there, and obviously windows. I think even when we're camping we'll still be able to use it from there, because then it'll just sort of blow it around the van. See my section there replaced. I've just got all that to grind down. I've just been replacing a few little sections. Just see up here, just a few little notches taken out. So what's it had? It's had the bottom of the tubs done, and it's also had, there was a huge hole. I'll hold the camera, you can potentially see, I'll point one out, put my imperfections out there, where I welded up that whole section, which was in a pain in the ass. You can see where that pen is, you can see where it actually ran along, but obviously that's for you guys to make look absolutely sweet. So that's pretty much inside. Just trying to think if I replace anything else. Anchor point, you can see in there, it's going to have full disc brakes all round. It's going to have a Porsche engine, hopefully, either a 2-litre Porsche or a 2-litre VW engine built up. I think it's Daniel Simpson, the guy I spoke to. Roof, yeah, inside, I don't know whether I'm going to tackle this yet, but you can kind of see that grey tape. It had a hatch at one point, and someone's actually not done too bad a job what they've done. I think if I was to strip it down, you'd probably be a mess. But what they've done is they've added a plate and they've kind of welded on top. So it might be, if I get time, to just cut that out and put a new sheet in and allow you guys to sort of do your magic on that. Let's go around the back. So, around the back, 2 brand new corners. And the corner's really hard to weld. I found that the actual panel wasn't great fit compared to my original ones that I cut out. And as soon as you add a bit of heat to a curved panel, it just warps all over the place. So it took me ages. And actually, that panel's been replaced twice. I just wasn't happy with it at all. So both corners, both trays. Let's just go actually over here. This is it's had a full skin. You can't get the frame, which is a pain in the ass. So let me just open this up and show you what I've got to do. So here, which I should have done before I fit the skin, there's a couple of patches of pinholes, which is all treated behind, but I'm going to cut those out and just, so by the time you get it, you shouldn't really notice those. Again, I'll get red oxide along that weld line underneath it. Stop any moisture getting to it. So full skin, all lines up, perfect. And then we've got the engine lid. The engine lid, as you can see, it's classic fab. Red bumpers. So what I've done, a bit of a nice little technique, is I've got holes in the bumper, you can see there, just sprayed by primer, and in the engine lid. But you notice the engine lid one's a bit off, a bit not fully on centre. And what I've done is I've got the original style number plate digits, and what I've done is I've actually hidden the screws that go through there, the little bolts, behind the digits. So you won't see any screws on the number plate, so that'll be quite a nice feature. It's got a centre brake light. It's also got lights, so it's a bit of a mishmash really, because obviously these should have just been side lights and actually been a brake light, but it's 1959. It's a complete mess of kind of random bits. I think South Africa, they actually just found some bits in the corner and all put it together. It went over in 58, late 58, and was registered in 59. And it's just got loads of earlier stuff, like 57 stuff on it. He sent me the wrong engine lid, which was a pain because this was kept in customs for about 4 weeks. So I eventually got it, couldn't be bothered to send it back, so what I did is I got the measurements of these and I drove them myself. And I've got a light over there, and actually there's the underslung heater, which I'm going to be putting in the van, and the bottom of the bulkhead, which we paid to get out. So if I open up, so it's had, can't really see, I haven't got a light actually. 2 new trays. Trays weren't great, they're Autocraft, they weren't amazing. I made up this gas bottle retainer. So So that was all done. There's quite a few holes here. I've kept one of them for the servo. I'm replacing, no one sells them, but I've found a guy who will make me this seal. So yes, it's a bit of a mess there. Someone's sort of tried to bodge it and I've cleaned it up, but still not great. And he's actually making me a brand new seal. So the side seals were done and they're autocraft, so that's easy. I've got loads of it left. New valance, I think that's autocraft as well. And there's inside the deck, so I had to cut out both sides. So I've got all these files for the templates for all these. So if you guys ever need them, I've got the template for these, where to measure it from, where to cut it out, size and stuff like that. And just goes in, fits in perfect. Just go for the underside. So roof isn't too bad, but I think apparently the previous owner said he spent a lot of work on the roof. So I reckon under there's a bit of a mess, but that's up to you guys to kind of figure out the best approach on that. It might be that there's plenty of filler needed, or there might be a period of panel beating needed on that. But I'll provide it to you, or whoever's going to paint it on a rotisserie. This is one I had built. I'm just modifying these brackets. These brackets are actually designed to fit into the valance holes, and it's way too flimsy. I'm going to go for a set of, so I just bought a set of bumper brackets, original for the van. I'm just going to weld them onto the side of this plate here. So I'm going to cut this off and weld them onto there. So stock panels, bumpers are great actually, way better than I expected. They even made them how they do originally, where they're in sections. You can see the bottom one, that's how they were made originally, and this is made in like 3 sections, the back ones. Corners, arches, there's that seal again. Let's go underneath, and I should be able to finish it off then. So underneath doesn't need too much plastic because